in your bag you used to take a change of clothing and a towel, because when you came out you were wet, soaking.
It's a mishmash of light, sound, colour, energy. It's a fantasy world.
There was a spiritual dimension of ecstasy, and a lot of people would dance themselves into ecstasy. It was like I was stepping into a whole new world. The rave scene began in Melbourne, I would say, for me, was probably 89.
The whole 80s club culture was cocaine. It was dressing up. It was hard to get into the clubs.
There was a lot of racism going on between Australians and ethnics. There was drive-by bashings that were going on.
I went through the punk scene, which was really quite a bitchy, nasty scene, and people got into heroin and all this kind of stuff, and it was really horrible.
A dry time, like dry in terms of creativity, and the music industry was very commercialised and entrenched.
You know, most clubs you'd line up for ages, and if you weren't dressed right or whatever, you wouldn't get in. And when you got in, it was expensive, and people drinking, and which led to boorish behaviour.
The clubs were there to make money, obviously. They needed an income stream, and alcohol was their income stream. People who were involved in acid and ecstasy and not drinking, and just drinking water, and all they'd do is take a bottle and go and fill them up in the bathrooms continuously. One of the things I remember clubs doing was taking all the handles off the taps in all the bathrooms. So this scene did not fit inside the club so well.
We arrived in late 89. Well, it wasn't that great in the nightclub, so to speak. There wasn't any warehouse parties whatsoever.
There wasn't a hint of rave going on. There was little clubs, and I'd go there.
From those sort of end of nights where the DJs were allowed to suddenly play house or something a bit different to the norm, there were only the hardcore people left, we thought we have to have our own playground, we have to have our own club.
A lot of people were looking outside for something that was amazing, and it was happening overseas and it was brilliant, but they weren't looking at themselves to realise that it was here. Biology would have been the first rave.
I have known Mark James and Richard and Heidi and got asked to do decor for biology, and so started there.
The experience for me was mind-blowing, it really was.
We took acid and the whole thing was incredible. It was like the birth of a scene.
All inhibitions, insecurities on the dance floor were gone. It was a freedom that I hadn't experienced in clubs.
What makes the party different from a nightclub is the pure size of it, of like having a massive dance floor, you know, and just everyone dancing. That's the spectacle of it.
You go into a nightclub and there's a little dance floor and massive big drinking areas, whereas we had a little drinking area and massive big dance floors. Our customers didn't like alcohol. They were there purely for the music and to dance.
But, you know, the people who were there didn't look anything like they were at a rave. You know, they were probably straight out of the Melbourne sort of alternative rock scene.
I got to put all these amazing banners up, get them in front of an audience, which is really hard to do. How do you do large-scale works and get them in front of an audience, you know, on, you know, that sort of canvas. You know, it was an achievement. We were actually doing stuff.
Blew the roof off Melbourne because they hadn't seen anything like it. Melbourne to us was like a candy box. Someone had opened the lid and left it off, and there it was for us to explore.
When this hit, it was liberating, it really was.
It really united a lot of people, and that kind of exploded into the rave scene.
When it's fresh, when it's new, all of a sudden you get the focus. Now once you've got the focus, then you keep the ball rolling. And that's what biology did. It launched us onto the Melbourne scene.
All of the misfits that kind of were around came together, and that was the joining point. We'd usually just have our own little think tank, so we'd be sitting around going, oh, what are we going to do for our next party?
It was very early days. We'd find a warehouse. It wasn't paid for. It was illegally broken into, in a sense. Sound system was set up. There'd be a smoke machine, a couple of basic lights, and just the music.
It was an incredibly just a go environment because, you know, we were always under budget, somewhat understaffed, but people were passionate about what we were doing and we all would chip in.
We never made any money. I used to have to bunk the trains to get back to Williamstown because I didn't have any money, and everyone's going, fantastic party, that was just unbelievable. God dear.
Ecstasy appeared and LSD started reappearing, so that combined with the music really created the culture.
People were really open, people were really inviting, also people from different walks of life.
There's no separation. You could be an airline pilot or you could clean the toilets. When you were on the floor and you were dancing together, no one gave a monkey's who you were.
Over time it was like, you know, bees to honey really. A lot of people got attracted to these parties.
The raves started getting bigger and bigger, and there were more on, and they were crazy and insane, they were huge.
From 89 to 90, and then 90 to 91, I guess in 2 very short years, you had a very mature, very complex scene happening.
This scene was about love. It was, they called it the second summer of love.
Let's do something crazy tonight. Just get insane. I want to be crazy. I want to be nuts. I want some fun. God damn it, my doctor says don't have any fun. You can't have fun, no. You're not allowed to have a good time. You can't get crazy. See, I have to be in control. And I like being in control.
To dance, you had to be comfortable. So sports gear, I guess, was where it started.
Hoodies and tracksuit pants like I'm wearing now.
English soccer goalie tops were pretty cool back then.
Let's take a look at them. This first one's a real doozy, isn't it?
$25.
Is it real?
We will control all the changes. We will control all that you see and hear. We will control all that you see and hear.
And we will control everything that you feel. Who knows is still there?
We will control all that you see and hear. We will control all that you see and hear. We will control all that you see and hear.
Added into this. And it's Bubble and it's Chris. Listen. Picking up the Dr. Devious. Come on. All the North crew, get set. What a man that make you sit down dust. Now all the guys, big up your chest, bend down chest. This is up on the microphone and yes, I must confess. What a man that make you sit and just stay. Some of the microphone. My DJ, get your hype. You got to move to the left and down to the right. In the dark tunnel. Now he's in the leavings.
Magic man.